All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our official kickoff call for really all of our 2026 expeditions, but we're going to be talking about March in particular tonight. You can definitely check out the dates and stuff. All of the things that we're going to talk about really do apply to all of our expeditions. And so you can check out the dates in our Facebook group. But I'm super excited to have you here. My name is Heidi Totten. I am the founder and executive director of 100 Humanitarians International. I have been taking people on epic expeditions to Kenya since 2015. I myself have been on 29 of those trips, and then I think we're at like 45 total. So we have been doing this for a long time. We've taken like well over 400 people, and we've got it locked down. So you will have an amazing experience. And I wanted to start off by first talking about the expedition and then jumping into what we actually do, so that you can see like what our model is, because we don't necessarily do the same things that other organizations do. We follow a pretty rigid like parameters on the types of projects that we focus on, and they all fall under a banner of sustainability. Our goal as an organization is to help families in Kenya become as sustainable as possible through our different projects. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen, and I will try and make this as interesting as possible for you. And let's see if I can get this in. All right, there we go. All right, so this is an exclusive safari, and I say it's exclusive because people aren't able to stay at the place that we stay because it is ours. So back in 2015, around this time, a little, I think it was in November of 2015, we decided that we would build a cultural center on the Masai Mara, and that is what we have done. And so this experience is our land, our buildings, our little ecosystem in about 10 minutes from the safari gate. So this is our guest house that we built in 2020. And my mom actually built this as a legacy for our teams to be able to stay in. And so it's a beautiful house. It's 4-bedroom, 4-bath. I'll get into that in a minute. This is an overview of our land in Kenya. And like I said, we started in 2015. We have taken 44, I got to update that, expeditions and over 400 people to Kenya. And we have exclusive housing just 10 minutes from the safari gate. So are you ready for an epic adventure? Just put in the chat yes, because I know you are. So I wanted to give you a little tour of this. This is right here at the front is a safari gate that goes back to our house. And then over here on the left, out of the picture, we do have a training center, and we are in the process of building new cottages. And I'll go over that in just a second. So as I mentioned, Coco's guest house sleeps 8. There are 4 bedrooms and 4 bathrooms en suite, which means that they are in the bedrooms. You don't have to leave the bedrooms to go into bathrooms. It sleeps 2 people per room. We also have a very comfortable living room with couches and chairs and rocking chairs. And we have an outdoor seating and a fire pit that is under under the wisdom tree. And when we first decided to build this, the wisdom tree was the only thing there. And so we've watched as all of these things have been built and landscaping has come in on this property over the last 10 years. Now we are working on building cottages, and so they will be finished by March. They have a beautiful wraparound veranda for retreat and relaxation. I will tell you that this week I got updated pictures of them. They're phenomenal. I'm super excited. We bought furniture for them, and so the March group is going to be the first group that actually has the opportunity to stay in these new cottages. They sleep 2 to 4 people, and they have separate shower baths and sinks. They're perfect for couples or small families. And then we also are working on getting the funding to build family cottages, which would sleep up to 4 each. And they would have 2 bedrooms with a central living area, and 2 people per room with ensuite bathrooms, and even a kitchen and laundry room for longer term stays, and a private fire pit so that it's separate from the other part of the cultural center. So what you experience on an expedition is just magical. Kenya is just a magical location in the world, and you will have opportunities to immerse culturally with the Maasai tribe. We have spent, like I said, the last 10 years working with the Maasai. We do have 11 different communities in Kenya, but on our expeditions, we do focus on working within the Maasai community because we have 5 locations specifically on the Masai Mara. This is the #1 safari destination in the world. And so you will go on safari and you will be also working with families who are experiencing extreme poverty. As you can see, this picture in the corner, this is a water source for some of these families. And since then, we have protected this spring so that they have access to cleaner water and it's separated out from their animals. All of our meals are prepared on site by Chef Mancha. And for those of you who have been before, you know that Mancha is probably the best chef in Kenya. He just makes incredible food. And then you have an opportunity to support local community projects that we'll go into a bit deeper after this. But as I mentioned, the reason why we run expeditions is because it helps generate revenue for our projects, for the community. It provides jobs. And that's all very important in helping to grow this community into a more sustainable community. So we focus on food security projects, clean water projects, education projects, and health and hygiene projects. And I just wanted to say that this girl in the middle right here graduated from college just this week, and I'm super proud of her. She is coming to work for us. She graduated with a certificate in agriculture, and she's super excited to be our community director in one of our areas. And so these are our pillars, and then all of our projects fall under those pillars, and we select our projects very carefully. So for example, we typically don't do things like make desks for students because what we want to do is strengthen the families that attend the school and have them be able to support their school and make desks. So we try and take a step back rather than just a handout. We try to partner with them to say, if we do this, will you do that? And that has been successful for us. I just got an updated number that we have built. I've been saying 23,000 garden towers. We've actually built 24,500 garden towers, and that number is going to go up by the end of the year. We're just bringing in the final tracking reports, hoping to get to 25,000 garden towers by the end of the year. Like I said, we provide local jobs in hospitality, cooking, and safari guiding, and that helps to create sustainable revenue for our community projects as well. And we build long-term self-reliance for families. And this is Mancha. This is out on safari, and he was making lunch for us. So, okay. I want to stop here, and I want to just do a little bit of overview on what an expedition entails. So when you sign up for an expedition, you're obviously going to pay for the expedition, but then you're going to sign a liability waiver, and that is going to bring you into our training portal. And that training portal has all of the information that you need in order to get ready for your trip. We also have 3 calls. So I'll just show you what our training portal looks like. We have 3 calls that we are on, and the first one is starts about 60 days out, and then 30 days out we are talking about fundraising and finalizing the projects, and then also applying for your electronic travel authorization, which is kind of like a visa, but they call it an ETA now. And then we have a call that's about a week out where we're finalizing everything and just discussing logistics on the ground. But with every group that goes, we also have a chat area where you can go in and you can ask questions and you can get information as well. So these are all, we have get to know you, required paperwork, what's included and not included in an expedition, flights and trip insurance. We do require trip insurance so that if anything does happen, we have a way to get you out of the country. And so that is required. fundraising and how we manage that, the ETA, meds and shots, cash and tipping, packing list, and mental preparation. So all of this is like you have access to all of this training. It's video training, it's very comprehensive. And if people ask additional questions, I usually add it to the training. And so you will not be lost at all. And we try and make it so that it's as detailed as possible so that you're prepared for everything that you need in order to go on the trip. Now, the pricing for the trip is based on the time of year because during July and August and September, it's the migration. And so it's the high season in Kenya and things are a bit more expensive. But for this trip, March and April, it's usually not as expensive. And so the prices that you see on expeditions will reflect the time of year and what we're needing to cover. So any questions so far? And if not, I will move on. All right. Okay, so I want to go a little bit deeper into the why behind this. I first went to Kenya in 2015, and I did not know what I was getting myself into. Obviously, I had planned to be a one and done trip participant, and of course, I've been there 29 times, and so you can see how well that worked out. What I saw was that there were a lot of organizations that were working with schools and orphanages, but there weren't organizations working with families. And systemic poverty really starts at the family and it also continues with the family. And so I started asking the question, who's actually working with the families to, like, if their kids are being educated and learning all these things, then they go back into their original family environment, then what has really changed? And as I've seen in Kenya over the years, there are a lot of educated kids that can't find jobs. They go through high school or they even go through college, graduate from college. There are no jobs for them. They're struggling with being educated for the types of jobs that are available. And so, what we're focusing on is developing small business enterprises that can be done family by family in order to support needs in the community. And the needs in these communities are always going to be food, water, and health and education. That's why we have the pillars that we do, because when in with all of the families that we've worked with over the years, they have all cited the same exact problems for their biggest challenges. And it's always food, water, education, or health. Over 16 million people in Kenya live on less than $2.15 per day. That's according to Kenya National Bureau of Statistics 2023, and it has actually gone up since COVID. When COVID hit, it was about 10 million people. So it's increasing pretty dramatically in the population. And, so we're fighting as hard and as fast as we can to be able to teach families how to do something a little bit different. So as you can see, we start with these garden towers. And that is our frontline solution to helping end global hunger. So, as I mentioned, the four problems of poverty that we see over and over again is food insecurity and starvation, contaminated water, lack of school fees, and missing school due to menstruation. And these are all projects that we focus on to help solve this problem, but we try to do it in a sustainable way. So, it's not just the handout, but it's a hand up. And we're really partnering with the families in this community, in these communities. Our stewardship model teaches responsibility and accountability to the families and communities. So, for example, with sustainable food, Garden Towers chickens and goats create a backyard food system. There's fresh vegetables, eggs, and milk that feed families and fuel self-reliance. Families can sell extra vegetables, they can sell eggs from the chickens, and they can sell goat's milk to create their own needs-based business in their community. And so often we're asked by families, hey, will you sell our jewelry or our crafts or things like that? But then it's a one-to-one customer. And what we're trying to teach them is that when you're working with food as your business, then you have a constant residual income and you're building up people to sell to over and over and over again. For clean water, we focus on water tanks, rainwater capture, and spring protection because that provides clean, reliable water. It reduces illness, it saves time because a lot of these families are walking 5 or 6 hours a day back and forth to get water, and that is typically girls. And it restores dignity to daily life. How can you really work on changing your family's life when you're spending all your time walking back and forth to get water? So the water tanks, in some communities, we do 100-liter tanks, and that provides water storage. So as they're getting water, they can put extra water in the storage tanks, and that way it reduces the number of trips that they have to take. We also do rainwater capture tanks, which are 1,000-liter tanks, and they harvest rainwater off of the roof, which also reduces the number of visits, and they're able to, during the drier seasons, they're able to store their water in there. And then we do what we call spring protection, and it actually will help clean up the water supply. In this particular spring, the runoff, it runs down a hill, and the water runs into a tilapia farm. So they doubled up so that they would be able to grow tilapia and provide fish for the area because it's an area that eats a lot of fish. And so this cleans it up because of the cement, and it helps to filter the water, and it also separates it out from the animals so that they're not drinking the same water supply as the animals. Then we work on, for education, we have school fees, literacy programs, and skills training. We've built several sewing centers, and we've taught sewing, and we have to sew the garden towers. And so that provides a job in our communities. And then really, like, this skills development has taken off in Kenya as well, because recently their education system switched from just purely like call and repeat to developing skills. And so students are able to choose a path. And one of the paths is agriculture. And so this is a great way to support those students who are trying to build up the food supply in Kenya. And then under health, these are our Hope kits. They're reusable feminine hygiene kits. We also supply Hope sacks, and these are sewn by our sewing teams. And so when they're donated here, they provide a job there. And the Hope sacks are fabric thermal cookers where you can bring food to a boil, take it off the heat, put it in a Hope sack, cinch it up, and it will reduce the amount of time that a woman spends cooking over a smoky fire. And it also reduces the amount of firewood that they need to burn and cut down in a country that is experiencing deforestation. We also have built a dental clinic on the Masai Mara, and so we do run dental trips as well, where dentists can come in and provide support for the community. We've run three or four dental trips now, and it's amazing. They're able to help well over 100 people in just a few days, and it's really making a difference. Now, these problems will not be solved by one organization. It will take all of us. But after identifying these problems, we created a 4-step path out of poverty. And we've reached out to donors, sponsors, partners who want to help with solving these problems too. Now, the big thing is that collaboration is really the key. And being able to identify what other organizations are doing and then partnering with them, which we are continuously doing as we connect with other organizations in not just Kenya, but in the other countries we're working in. We're working on a project in Malawi and Mali right now, both very unstable countries. And so we need to work with directors that are on the ground and can make that difference. But with this, with the 4-step path out of poverty, this is a duplicatable system that we can do over and over again. And what I tell people when they come on expeditions with us is that they are not going to create huge changes in the time that they're on the ground. However, putting 45 expeditions together, you can really see the transformation. 25,000 garden towers built, thousands of water tanks. I think we've had like 50 students sponsored. We've distributed over 10,000 Hope kits over the years. And so when you look at that, each expedition is part of a tapestry that's building a picture of secure or sustainability and self-reliance. So our first step is we identify a family. Our community directors in Kenya work with local leadership in the villages, often like the village chiefs and the tribal leaders, to identify the families that need the most help to get out of poverty. These families are often a strain on those communities, and if we can help them, then it lessens the strain on the community so that they're able to do better themselves. During COVID, in one of our communities, we provided rice and beans to about 50 families, and they were the poorest of the families. And so, because everybody was struggling, it took the burden off of them, and that was our emergency food relief while we worked on getting those families garden towers so that they had more sustainability. So we really try to talk with the community directors and work with them and say, what are you seeing on the ground? Instead of coming in and saying, well, we're just going to fix this problem. We really want to make sure that we're not causing more problems in a community by being there. The second thing is we clarify their needs. So we do family assessments to determine what their current biggest challenges are for food, water, education, and hygiene. And just so you know, we have these tracked on massive spreadsheets. So we have the names and the biggest challenges and the family member numbers of every family that we've ever built a garden tower with. Our community directors are required to report on this in order to get paid. And so our garden tower program actually will generate the jobs for the community directors, the sewers, the builders, and this is how we pay them, is once they respond to this. All right, so next we create their path. So our community directors submit their recommendations to our team for the best path that will help the family with the tools, resources, and mentoring they need. In some cases, it will be, hey, here's a group of families and they're really struggling. They actually have contaminated water. Cholera is really big in this community. And so our next, like, this is a community where we can really help them by doing a spring protection project or drilling a borehole. We've done that in a few communities where we can. And so we're really looking to our team to recommend what happens next. And I always tell them, all of our community directors, you can always ask. I might not be able to say yes right now. I might not be able to ever say yes, but you can always ask and we will put it on our schedule. And then when we have funds that come in that can support that particular pillar, then we can look at what the priorities are. And then we magnify the impact. So we're teaching a stewardship and pay it forward concept. We're developing our families into leaders who will help mentor other families in their community. And one of the things that we are building out right now is called a sustainable circle. So we're taking families, we're grouping them into groups of 20 to 25 families, and then we are asking them to contribute money to a fund that we can match, and then it becomes a micro lending program within that sustainability circle, with a percentage going to help create new circles by donating garden towers. And so we're building out the model to be able to work in as many communities as possible because communities are taking care of themselves. This is Gideon. He is our director in Bomet, and he actually just graduated from a certificate program and is working for the airlines now. So it's pretty cool that he's at the airport, and he's married and has a little girl. And we just visited his house a few weeks ago and got to go and hang out with them. So that was really fun. These numbers are totally wrong. They need to be updated as of today. But 100 humanitarians since 2015. We are now pushing 25,000 garden towers. We're at 2,000 water tanks, 50 students, 1,000 Hope Kits, and we've worked with, well, whatever half of 25 is, so 13 to 14,000 families since we started this in 2015. So it seems like a lot, and it also feels like nothing for me because I know of the need. And when you think of the 25,000 garden towers, each garden tower will feed a family of 5, 3 to 5 meals of fresh vegetables ongoing for years. And so that equates to 1,300 to 1,500 meals of vegetables. So at 25,000 garden towers, it's supporting 125,000 people, which is awesome. but peripherally, because they're able to sell vegetables, it impacts the community because there's more food going into these communities, more food being grown and distributed by families. And that just helps to, to continue to build sustainability in the community. There's 4 ways to help with 100 Humanitarians. One is obviously to donate, whether you become a monthly donor, make a one-time contribution. Every dollar makes a difference. A $25 donation for a garden tower, we can turn into $212 in revenue with that family as they sell garden or vegetables that are grown. And so we really are working to magnify your impact. You can join an expedition, which is why we're here tonight. And that way you have the opportunity to serve in our communities, go on an incredible safari on the Masai Mara, and also just the experience of bonding with each other. So expeditions aren't just what we do in Kenya, but the teams that form and the memories that we create together are really amazing. We also have monthly volunteer opportunities to help with sewing projects. We'll do garden towers, hope kits, hope sacks, and we also love to host events, and we do different fundraising events, and so sponsorship opportunities are available as well. And as you can see, we are still, and what I talked about before, we are building the Emprenant Cultural Center, and we're going to continue to build it. You can see different pictures that we have. There's our training center, our house. This is from the water tower, taking a picture of the land. And then, as I mentioned, we're building cottages to expand the number of people that can actually stay at the cultural center with us. So that is my 30-minute presentation on what we do at 100 Humanitarians. And if you are interested in joining an expedition, you can definitely go to our website, 100humanitarians.org/expeditions, and you can sign up for information there. And we send out emails a couple times a month talking about the projects we're working on, as well as when our expeditions are coming up. You can also join our Facebook group under events. We post all of our expeditions there as well. And feel free to reach out to me on Facebook and message me and just say, hey, I'm interested in learning more about an expedition, and we're happy to talk with you. And so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Are there any questions before I stop the recording, just so that nobody has to watch this longer than 30 minutes? All right. Okay. So check out our March expedition. The dates for March of 2026 are, drumroll, March 27th through April 5th. So it's at the end. And then at the end of the month. And then we also have an April expedition. We have a June expedition. We're working on a July expedition. And then we go into fall, where we have September, October, and November. And so there are a lot of different opportunities to go. And so whatever will work with your schedule. And then we also have the ability that if you want to go over and take your family and create a family humanitarian expedition, we can do that with you as well and give you specific pricing for that if you don't want to go on a particular trip, but you want to take your family and go. So that's something that we can help accommodate as well. So thank you so much for joining me today, and hope to see you in Kenya in the future.